Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to talk about how you can find hidden information from events. That could be speakers, that could be sponsor lists, it could be contact information from the websites. And we're going to use a very specific tool which is called Zenrows that helps you find really clean information from the websites. So yeah, I'm going to show you how we could do it directly on Zenrows, like the native website. And I'm going to show you how we can connect Zenrows with Clay and then use Clay to do a host of other enrichments. So here's how the main UI of Zenrows looks like. I'm using the Universal Scraper API, and you could add any URL over here. For this use case, I'm going to use this NRF 2026 Retail Trade Show, and I'm going to try to find the speaker names. Um, Here's the API details that I've blurred out for safety purposes. I would recommend selecting premium proxies because it is going to help you get through, it'll help you bypass certain, like systems that would block you from getting all this information. Or, um, it also kind of prevents you from getting blocked. Um, And then there are some advanced options over here, and there are options for the output, but you could choose any of these. You could choose to have the data in JSON or HTML. For this use case, I'm going to go select more. So I'm getting more templates. Um, so you could see that Zenrows also finds the links to the images of the speakers. So in this case, I'm basically going to be getting the links to these speakers images, which will contain the speaker's name. You could select emails, links, headings, phone numbers in case you're interested in reaching out to someone, not to the speaker, because usually speakers' email and phone numbers are not going to be listed here. But if you want to reach out to someone in NRF, you could use Zenrows to find that information. And it also shows what is the cost for this request. Now there is a formula over here, which is the basic cost is 1x for, like the JSON rendering, which is, sorry, for the JavaScript rendering, it is 5x. For the premium proxies is, I think, 10x of that. And yeah, I mean, I'm not getting into the details of it, but you could run and preview the result over here. Um, Now, while this thing runs, I wanted to show you a few things on the analytics part of it. Now, there are a bunch of requests that I've already done. It's great that Zenros is showing all of this data over here on the number of successful requests. You could then filter by domain, by usage, by the number of requests, status code, as in, what has been the status code. 200 obviously, I think in this case means that it has been a successful um, case of finding the information. Which domains consume the most amount of uh, credits, or which has costed you a lot? And then there's a table. Now coming back to the data that I had spoken about earlier, so this is how you would get the result. There's literally everything from the website, and you can see that the images that we and the images option that we selected over here, Zenros is basically getting those image links, and each of these image links has the name of the speaker. Now, I'm not saying this is just the single and the universal way to find the names of the speakers. Zenros will find it in a different manner. In this particular website, it was easier to do this because each of the speakers had an image, and each of the image had an image link with the speaker's name onto it. I mean, that's probably the way in which NRF would have uploaded those images, and Zenros is able to get that. Now, once you have this information, there's obviously company information that is not available over here, but at least you have the speaker list for you to find a way to, get their information either their LinkedIn profiles or something else. However, on the Clay integration part, I'm going to show you how we're going to find the LinkedIn profiles of the speakers as well. Now, this portion is about how you can connect Zenrows to Clay. You can see I have used a couple of platforms that I was speaking about earlier. I'm using the Zenrows Enrichment just to show you how I'm doing that. You basically type Zenrows in Enrichments and you use this, which is run Zenrows scrape. Now, to talk about how much this is going to cost. So, with the native Clay integration, it is going to cost you 1 credit per row. Now, if you use the Zenrows API, the way I've used it in my case, I've used Zenrows API, and where you'd find the API is from your Zenrows main login, and there you would have selected Clay as your no-code tool, and you'd get a specific API for that. You'd have to punch in your API key over here so that you could then use Zenrows to find all the information from these websites. You'd have to give the websites as the input over here. And then there's an interesting part of piece here, which is all of the information from the websites is actually parsed into very clean data in this manner. For example, you could find the title. Now, this is one of my favorites, which is the keywords and the descriptions. Usually, I use this in Google Maps. So, in Google Maps scraping, what happens is that when you try to find a bunch of businesses, you'd find few businesses that are not aligned or not part of your ICP. That's where Zenrows helps you to kind of filter them out by kind of using using the keywords from the website. And this is really, really clean data. And then Zenrows also helps you to find the email IDs and the phone numbers from the websites in case you want to do any sort of outreach to them. And then I'm using a wait time of about zero point 0.2 milliseconds over here. Not that it matters a lot, but you could choose to kind of reduce this or increase this. And then I definitely suggest using premium proxy and anti-bot. And once the scraping is done, this is how you'd look at the data. This is all of the body from the scrape, and you'd get a bunch of links. For example, these are all hrefs. Now let's look at maybe a few. No, yeah. So this is a LinkedIn profile of one of the speakers, Matt Schwartz. And you could use this to sort of enrich the person's profile and do an outreach if you want to. Here's another LinkedIn profile. And then what I'm doing is I'm sending all of this data to another table so that I have clean data of all the links and I can filter out all the profiles of the speakers and do an outreach to them. So in short, that's how you could use Zenrows to find information from event websites. I've covered two use cases over here. One is how you could directly do it on Zenrows website and find all of the information in different formats and then use another tool to parse all of that. Or you could connect Zenrows with Clay and do your enrichments and outreach after that. In case you like this video, guys, please like, repost, or comment. And if you need any help setting up this process, do reach out to me. Thanks a lot.